Counter-terror police confirm Anne Widdecombe was the victim of a targeted attack. 4 days after the veteran politician was found dead in her home, officers continue to question a 28-year-old man on suspicion of murder and terror-related offences.
It is clear that this was a targeted attack. We are still working to understand the extent of any planning or preparation and the motivation that sits behind that attack.
The cost of the heat wave. Fire crews battle wildfires across England and Wales while the UK bakes.
A World Cup for a reason. It might come down to small details, small margins, but yeah, we've got nothing to fear, we've got nothing to worry about.
This is the ITV Evening News with Gamal Fahnbulleh.
Good evening. Scotland Yard has confirmed that the suspected murder of veteran politician Anne Widdecombe was a targeted attack. The head of counter-terrorism said that some planning and preparation went into the killing, but the motive is still unclear. The body of the former MP was discovered in her Devon home on Thursday. A 28-year-old white British man is still being questioned on suspicion of murder. Our global security editor, Rohit Khatri, reports.
He probably thinks, where is this going to end? Let's bring an end to it. Let's bring this to a head. Let's put it to the people.
Sitting at the desk at her Devon home, Anne Widdecombe granted this interview last Wednesday. She defended Nigel Farage with her familiar tone, but 20 minutes later, she was killed.
What Clinton once described as the politics of personal destruction.
What police still can't say is whether those beliefs, whether her party formed part of the attacker's motive, but they do believe she was the intended target.
It is clear that this was a targeted attack. We are still working to understand the extent of any planning or preparation and the motivation that sits behind that attack. It is important to remember that this is a murder investigation following a brutal attack on a 78-year-old lady in her own home.
A house in Rotherham, the scene of extended searches today. What was discovered on digital devices here is helping to shape the investigation. This video shows the suspected killer carrying a long object, setting off on a 270-mile journey on the morning the former MP was killed. What happened here last week remains the subject of mystery and of misinformation. It has not been declared a terrorist incident, but investigators concede this evening that the killing of Anne Widdecombe is a complex case. Rohit Khatri, ITV News.
Helicopters have been called in to help tackle a huge wildfire on Tintwistle Moor in the Peak District. It's been burning for more than 3 weeks and now covers more than 640 acres of moorland. A few miles away, near Dovestone Reservoir, crews are still trying to control the flames. A 20-year-old woman has been charged with aggravated arson in connection to the fire. Our North of England reporter, Jonathan Brown, has the latest.
As the smoke relentlessly billows from these burning Peak District moors, the earth and wildlife beneath is gradually being destroyed.
The fire service and mountain rescue teams are working together to try to stop this fire at source. That's why we've got one of 2 helicopters here, which are effectively doing laps of this reservoir, Torside Reservoir, collecting water and taking it to the top of Tintwistle Moor to try and douse those flames.
These pictures, taken almost 3 weeks ago, show the fire in its early stages, covering around 400 square metres. Now it's estimated more than 640 acres have been burned.
Yeah, it's been quite terrifying.
For those watching the fire edge nearer, it's an unwanted spectacle. Phil helps to run this water sports club at the bottom of the hill.
We are keeping close eye on the wind direction. Yeah, there is a concern. There's lots of flammable material around here. It's very dry.
The smoke prompted an early school pick-up for parents, the dry heat showing no sign of abating.
I think it is a good decision because you can't keep 30 children locked up in a classroom with closed windows.
3 miles away, firefighters remain at Duston Reservoir 3 days after videos on social media appeared to show fireworks being lit in the area. Today, a 20-year-old woman's been charged with offences including aggravated arson.
The ground is tinder dry, so it is spreading. We've got high temperatures which have been maintained throughout the rest of the week.
Elsewhere, the flames have come and gone. This stretch of Western Nature Reserve in Southampton is now a charred wasteland. But with no rain on the horizon, places like the Peak District remain at risk. Authorities urging visitors not to add to a workload that's already weighing heavily. Jonathan Brown, ITV News.
Well, meanwhile, more than 1,000 people have now been evacuated from their homes as a huge wildfire near Paris continues to rage on. Around 850 firefighters have spent a third day tackling the fire in Fahnbulleh forest. Spanish authorities have now identified 10 of the 13 people who were killed in a wildfire in the country's Almeria province last week. President Trump has backed down on his plan to impose a 20% toll on cargo going through the Strait of Hormuz. Writing on social media, he said the Middle Eastern countries would instead invest in trade deals with the US. It comes after the US launched more strikes on Iran overnight. And Sir Keir Starmer has become the first British Prime Minister to be awarded the Légion d'honneur, France's highest honour. He was given the award by President Emmanuel Macron, who praised him for his work on the security of Europe and Ukraine. Now, billions of pounds of taxpayers' money was wasted on the wrong kind of personal protective equipment, and the lives of NHS staff and patients were put at risk. That's the damning findings of the latest part of the COVID inquiry, which also criticised a VIP lane for suppliers with links to the government. Our health correspondent, Rebecca Barry, is here. Some major failures highlighted, Rebecca.
Yeah, I mean, many of us will remember those dark days of the pandemic, won't we, when NHS frontline staff desperately needed protection from this new and deadly disease. This report actually includes testimony from nurses who were treating patients dying of COVID who had to resort to using bin bags and shower caps for protection. It says that government failings left them without vital equipment, while billions of pounds of public money were wasted. It says that the UK entered the pandemic with its PPE stockpiles in a perilous state. Systemic flaws left doctors, nurses and care staff without the PPE they needed to protect themselves or those in their care. The so-called VIP lane for suppliers was misguided, it says, and it undermined public trust. And of the almost £15 billion spent on PPE, nearly two-thirds, almost £10 billion was wasted. Now, this report doesn't go into the evidence around the PPE firm linked to the former Conservative peer Baroness Michelle Mone. A criminal investigation is ongoing and she denies any wrongdoing. But it does set out 11 recommendations so the UK can better prepare for future pandemics. It includes a major overhaul of the supply chain, improving our stockpiles and improving transparency. The Royal College of Nursing has called today's report a damning indictment of the way nurses were let down. It says that there will be another pandemic and the government must prepare now.
Yes, those recommendations are followed up. OK, Rebecca, thank you. A man who raped and murdered his estranged wife before staging her death to make it look like suicide has been jailed for life with a minimum term of 33 years. 56-year-old Michael Thompson subjected Kimberly to years of abuse, including physical violence and controlling coercive behaviour. He was sentenced at Nottingham Crown Court earlier today. The train driver, Sean Burton, killed in the Bedford train crash, died from traumatic injuries to the brainstem and chest, an inquest has heard. The 60-year-old died when the East Midlands Railway train he was driving hit the back of a stationary train. Investigations are still ongoing. And South East Water must pay £30 million after investigations by the industry watchdog Ofwat found failures that led to supply interruptions for hundreds of thousands of households across Kent and Sussex. Thousands of customers were left unable to access tap water, shower or flush their toilets during outages earlier this year. Now, MPs will tonight vote on the long-delayed Hillsborough law, which will force public officials and authorities to tell the truth and help official investigations and inquiries. It's a key demand from survivors and the families of those who died after Liverpool fans were blamed for the disaster and police withheld evidence. Tonight, both the current Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, and the next one, Andy Burnham, gave it their support, as Layla Hayes reports.
97 lives lost. Decades fighting for justice after the worst sporting tragedy in British history. The day when Liverpool fans were killed in a crush at Hillsborough, followed by years of victims being wrongly blamed. Charlotte Hennessy was just 6 when her father Jimmy died.
When you have got all of the evidence there that your loved one was still alive, and you can prove that with multiple different witnesses and nobody wants to hear it, you know, it's really, really difficult and it totally consumes your life.
But after years of legal battles, the families are now close to a key victory. A bill is expected to be passed by MPs to pave the way for a Hillsborough law, forcing public officials to tell the truth and, it's hoped, avoid cover-ups.
The Hillsborough families fought so that no family like them should ever have to endure and suffer what they went through.
Margaret Aspinall has spent years fighting for this moment. Her 18-year-old son James died at Hillsborough.
Elated, to be truthful with you. You know, it's took all of these years to get where we are today. But what we've got to remember, you know, I feel a great satisfaction that persistence does pay off. And persistence and being determined, it does pay off.
It's hoped the new law will strengthen support for those seeking justice for any disaster. The Hillsborough families never gave up hope. And today, they're one step closer to preventing this from happening to anyone else. Layla Hayes, ITV News.
And finally tonight, Harry Kane has told ITV Sport his favourite England moment was David Beckham scoring the winner against Argentina in Japan during the 2002 World Cup. It comes on the eve of England's semi-final against their rivals in Atlanta tomorrow night. And the Three Lions captain said playing against Argentina and Lionel Messi is a huge test. From Atlanta, here's our sports editor, Steve Scott.
Come on, England! Slowly, group by group, England fans are touching down for what promises to be a monumental clash of two great rivals.
England are just going to scrape through. Harry Kane, 90+5 winner. I mean, if you take Messi out of that team, they're absolutely nothing.
And after the Mexico game, it's the biggest win that I've seen us in my lifetime. So I think it's written in the stars for me. I think we're going to do it.
David Beckham's recent visit,
a big role model for me, big inspiration,
reminded the current captain of his best England moment growing up, and it involved Argentina.
It's actually Beckham's penalty. Red kit, yellow armband, I think, and we all knew what Beckham went through previously against Argentina, and that kind of redemption story of scoring that penalty, his celebration, his pulling the shirt and his face, and yeah, that's one of my favourite England memories, really, when you think about it. How long he's been at the top of his game and never played England. Ultimately, we know how good a player he is. We know what he's done in the game, how consistent he's been for so long. But the game is against Argentina, not against Lionel Messi. We're coming up against a great unit, a great team with fantastic players.
Harry Kane becomes England's most capped outfield player tomorrow, but the only landmark he cares about is leading his team out in the final.
We're in the semi-final of a World Cup for a reason. It might come down to small details, small margins, but yeah, we've got nothing to fear, we've got nothing to worry about. We go full gas and try and take it into the final.
And if you'd have asked England fans ahead of the tournament, which top 4 team would they like to face in the semi-final, almost all of them would have said Argentina. It's just one of those fixtures that stirs up so much emotion. Now, if you thought the Mexico game had everything, expect many, many fireworks, more fireworks tomorrow. Argentina aren't just very good, but they're tough and they're streetwise too. We could be in for an all-time classic.
OK, Steve, many thanks indeed. A big game, big match ahead. Good luck to England for tomorrow. That is all from us for now. Tom's here with the latest after the other semi-final tonight, the small matter of France against Spain. From me, bye-bye.
Today we'll see warmer temperatures moving in from the east, especially around tea time. Heinz Beans sponsors ITV National Weather.
Hello, the weather's making headlines now, not just for how hot it is, but also for how dry it is. Today, the 10th day in a row that somewhere in the UK has reached at least 30 degrees Celsius, and now we're counting 32 counties with less than 1 millimetre of rain so far this month. So this, coupled with the heat, is making for some exceptionally dry conditions out there. And it's not changing for the rest of the week. The heat wave will go on. In fact, heat will expand north and west once again. Plenty of sunshine, and there is no significant rain in the forecast. Looks to be that way even into next week. That's as long as high pressure stays around. Just one change though going into this weekend. The flow of air around it coming down more from the north. So where it is hot at the moment, it will be turning a touch cooler into this weekend. For now, another dry evening and night is underway. We've had some low cloud lingering through coastal parts of the east that will tend to push back in towards parts of East Anglia and the Midlands overnight. Warmest towards southern England and South Wales, high teens for the overnight temperature, though at least there is a bit of a breeze here. Any of that cloud tomorrow morning, just like today, will eventually clear, though some may linger coastal eastern England and northeast Scotland. And there may just be a thundery shower pushing towards the Channel Islands, maybe overnight Wednesday night towards Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly. That is the exception. Most places will stay dry. Widespread sunshine and heat, and even parts of western Scotland tomorrow could see a temperature nearing 30 degrees Celsius. So the heat wave does go on, but then that indication into this weekend that something a little cooler will come our way, with more cloud around, but still no rain. That's it. Enjoy your evening.
Heinz Beans sponsors ITV National Weather.